He's got exciting news today. Did you give me the agenda?
It's response. Did you read it?
I think so. Maybe she's applying on one of these. Is there anybody in the? Just Dave. Just Dave. I played around with the other one. Yeah, Lenny showed me how to use it. I said, there's Dave. Easy to do with the sugar.
I was holding it.
Well, let it go.
That was
the time I lost. It's like, wow. Bring food
Yeah.
So, am I repeating?
I lost the whole day last.
Like
What do you mean?
I like where it says that.
See?
No, I said, like, I said, well, when so-and-so comes on Thursday, she said.
Living room.
Yeah, it is Thursday. Well, that's Wednesday. So we go back and forth, we find this, she goes and looks like back and eat or something, and I go to, I immediately go to her flight. And I said, it's not easy, girl, it's not gonna be right. I was there. And I don't know, I don't know what happened. Wow, yeah.
So for the agenda tonight that we have is review our agenda, which we'll do now, public comment. And for general business, we have review our meeting minutes from October 28th and November 8th. We have at 5:15 our annual classification, tax classification. Followed by the highway department check-in, discussion about the water access of Bridge Community Church. 6:30 discussion with Beth Wilson about the Wenzel Road parcel and update on the FY 26 and VP grant culvert assessment. And then town administrator report. We do have one thing that popped up, which is the grant for conservation restriction sent to us by Mateo. If you guys are amenable to adding that, I think
It's already something we had signed.
Yeah,
Right.
it's more of a formality now.
Just maybe reform. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why I
yeah.
interpreted it, so it's not new, it's not new business.
No,
Yeah.
no. Kind of just a redo of.
Yeah.
a prior signature. Okay, is there anything else, Haley, that you had that popped up?
Is it
And you had asked us last time if your town is report came earlier, so we'll look that in for a moment for you. All right.
I have a split report of defective vehicle from the vehicle.
Be reported. Be reported. Did you have anything you wanted to? No, okay. Let's go to public comment. For anyone who has public comment on screen or in the room, on screen, please use your raise hand feature. Off screen, you raise hand. feature.
I like that.
So does anyone have a public comment they'd like to share? Oh, hi, Tom.
You're muted.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I just got interrupted for a second by somebody. Thanks. I'm really sorry I can't be there in person. But it's great that we have this Zoom option. Thanks for taking this public comment. Unfortunately, I won't be able to stay for much of the meeting tonight either, so I might have to make my comment and go. It is a comment, please, to appeal to the select board to consider using a beaver deceiver at the culvert from Fisk Brook into Lake Wyola that goes under Lakeview Road. I have written to the select board about this, but I also just wanted to say it out loud in a public forum, please. It's been unclear why the select board has not acted upon a vote that they took in April to implement a beaver deceiver at this culvert. The beaver dam there is causing a blockage in water flow, which is leading to a potential emergency that would be the road washing out and or the culvert being damaged to the point of not working anymore. In the meantime, there's been a trapping permit issued to trap beavers at this beaver dam, but that won't solve the water flow problem. And there are a number of beavers beyond the beavers that would potentially be trapped and killed that would probably come back and just rebuild the dam. At the emergency management team on Monday evening, at their meeting on Monday evening, it was noted that this beaver dam has been a recurring issue since at least 2016. A lot of town employee hours have been spent dealing with this, and the dam just keeps coming back. I would advocate for a beaver deceiver because it would be a permanent solution to solve the water flow problem at this dam. It would also be humane, and which is to say it would not kill the beavers, but it would not cause beavers to be killed by the trapping. Even when trapping doesn't kill the beavers and they are removed to a different spot, the territorial nature of beavers can mean that a new beaver in the neighborhood is just attacked by the current beavers there. The beaver deceiver would be a one and done solution. It might be a bit costly, but it would pay for itself over time. And it would ensure that the road would not be eroded out from underneath on the one side of the road, which is the issue now. If that road goes away, it would obviously affect people living near it, but it would also affect, for example, the whole town of Wendell by impeding emergency services for Wendell, which are provided by Leverett at the moment, and they have to drive over Lakeview Road to get there. There is a concern, and it's real, that putting up a beaver deceiver would prevent anyone from passing through the culvert on their canoe or kayak, and that it is a safer passage into the lake from the Fishbrook area than crossing over the road with one's canoe or kayak. However, I'm not sure that that safety concern outweighs the safety concern about what would happen if the road would wash away or be flooded. And there are alternatives for people to bring their kayaks and canoes in their cars to a lake access point. And the town would also have the option of potentially painting crosswalks or putting up signs or a pedestrian light in that area to help guide people and alert traffic to the existing canoe and kayak launch at the corner of Merrill Drive and Lakeview Road. So I know that there is a plan potentially to form a memorandum of understanding with the camp on the one side of the culvert about maintaining the current situation so that they can be able to go through it. And it would mean that there would be constant recurring beaver dams going up, potentially constantly recurring beaver trapping. And I'm not sure that this is in the best interests of the town, both as a cost and the way that we want our town employees to be spending their time. So I feel as though the safety concerns for the road are paramount and should be put above any sort of recreational concerns. I think that's about it. I have a very long email that I kind of just tried to pull the important parts out of here in order to keep myself under 2 minutes, which I hope I've done. And I thank you very much for listening to me. I know that you might not be able to respond tonight, but I do hope that the select board considers going through with hiring Beaver Solutions and implementing a permanent water flow humane beaver deceiver.
Thank you, Tom. You're right.
Thank
We don't
you.
usually comment on public comment, so or respond. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Judith, I saw your hand raised.
Yes, I just wanted to add too that there are ways to deal with the camp people's canoes. They keep them on trailers and they could probably just hook that up, bring it over and have the kids access from over at the state property. And I agree with the beaver deceiver because it is a permanent solution. Everything else has to be just done over and over and over again. And I hate having to dislocate the beavers. So that's all. Just wanted to add that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you for that information. All right, moving on to approving our minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes for October 28th?
So moved.
Second.
Were there any edits or clarifications?
The only thing I think I saw was Donna maybe spelling people's name. Like the exact one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we want to do that, so, that be.
Sorry, I didn't catch it earlier.
That's fine, that being the only one,
Yeah.
do I, all those in favor of approving the minutes as amended?
Farrell, I.
Start around.
In peace, O'Neill, aye. Do I hear a motion for the minutes for November 8th?
So moved to approve that minutes.
Yeah.
Second, I did talk to Brennan today, and I don't believe, I was not there at the meeting. I was initially listed as someone who was there, so I think that's been changed.
Yeah.
So it been changed, Brennan, are you listening?
Yes, that was changed.
There you go.
Thank you, Brennan. Okay, so then this one, all in favor of approving as amended?
Farrell, I.
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. And we are a couple minutes early for our tax classification. We met on time in case anyone's coming just for that. Do you want to do meeting updates? If you get, let's say 5 minutes.
So this, this might take longer than 5 minutes, but because where you have a draft charge for the 6th group to the Lake Wireless Stormwater. So feel free to look that over if you have comments, you can just, the one thing I did want to highlight is what you think of the membership suggestion I did, so that's something where, I mean. If you have anything you want me to update there, that's totally fine.
So do you want us to give comments back to you and then we would vote on this at our next meeting? Is that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That, I did also want to highlight, we need to do executive session meeting and approval. And it has to happen in 2 parts, so we have the contract meetings from earlier this spring and then the solar ones, which we'll want to talk to them. So, just to float that, there we go, we'll get the dates, I guess I'll go poll.
So do you want to have a, not do it within a select board meeting to have like a special a separate meeting just to do minutes?
I think, because there's many, and it's 2 different things. Plus you've got the personnel, planning board able to. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you probably should do it.
Okay.
And next step.
Can everybody hear us okay? 'Cause, you know, I noticed the other day when I was remote, when you guys turned towards each other, it was much harder to hear. I don't know if we can move that mic.
We can't yet, but
Okay.
Brennan has ordered a special USB port. So
Oh,
once that comes
okay.
in, then we can.
I think there's sort of here. or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe closer to public and closer. to-
yes. I wonder if it was even on a chair or that it's
It's
too loud. Oh, okay,
But it will be fixed.
okay. All right. So I think we just have to project. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and pretend people look at the screen.
Still look at us, but just louder.
So yeah, just to recap, you have the draft charge for stormwater for city, I'll send out some calendar feelers for executive session minutes. Budget letters went out, I've already gotten a couple back from different departments, committees. And I wanted to just also float this idea and. Yeah, we can always talk about it later, but do you want input from the police chief hiring or search committee with regards to 2nd round interview questions?
I thought about that, but you had asked us. I would say yes.
Yeah.
I think it would be good because, you know, you've done all the questions, so it'd be good for us to have those questions.
Next week in draft, so we're gonna be meeting on Monday and I'll update the agenda.
Okay.
Okay.
And what's our target date?
Moving, right?
Yeah.
December 9th, so we will be completing our interviews tomorrow. And then we meet as a committee on the 17th, so on Monday, and then you guys meet the 25th.
So we
As
need,
a select board, and then
Yeah.
I can give on behalf of the committee, invite the whole committee to give finalists. And then we can plan to interview at the subsequent meeting on December 9th.
I see, so the committee comes to see us on the 25th with their recommendations. So
Yeah. We'll see who can attend.
Okay.
So yeah, we're definitely moving around.
Great.
And then the last thing I had was a Beaver Dam update. probably one of my most favorite things to talk about. But I understand that it is, there are a lot of feelings involved and, at one point in my life, I thought I would be an ecologist, so. I'm not really one to go. I'm not really one to go, like, I tied myself to a tree, so to protest my father cutting it down in our backyard. But it is a serious problem and basically because it wasn't dealt with last winter and the beavers have had enough time to really set up shop. They have to be removed, they have to be trapped, ultimately that does result in the passing of the beaver. But once we have completed this trapping. The highway department has worked with Leverett Highway Department to basically borrow their excavator. And David can speak to this if I forget anything, but once we borrow the excavator, we can remove the dam. The camp has volunteered their property to store the dam materials. Some part of like the woods and, there's some other culvert work that we can do at that time. And so what I really liked about the MOU with the camp is it's not just them getting something, they have more constant view of that area of the culvert. And once we remove the dam, I don't believe that we'll have those same recurring issues because then it's just a matter of monitoring. It's, how we going out there and pulling out some debris or perhaps somebody from the camp removing some debris. And once the beavers know that they can't build there, they're gonna go someplace where they can. So I think that, it is really unfortunate that we have this loss of life. But ultimately where we're gonna be for the next year is in a position where we don't have to do that. And I think, and I think that that's an overall positive. How was my update? I think I hit everything. And we have met, quite a bit, both, myself, the highway department, the conservation commission, the board of health, the camp, and I'll be checking with Donna on draft MOU language, sent her something. They needed a little bit. And so that's where we're at. And then we've also talked with Dave this morning. There are some culvert grants opportunities that are on the horizon. So there are some repairs that need to be done, and that's something he and I will work on an application to get it submitted. And we can do some repair work too.
So is that part of the rural road
I
grant cycle or?
think it's pertains to MassDOT, so it might be part of it. There's a lot of grant names.
Yeah.
But
I had forwarded something, I know, Brennan had gone to, there was a meet, like an informational session, and it was specifically kind of, rural roads, and you could buy equipment too, so so then I forwarded that to you and said, is this an opportunity? Because I think the window's open between now and January,
I think Dave and I both want to get some funds for the grader.
Or new grader, it was even, new grader,
Yeah, I think that was everything I had. I don't know if you had things.
So can you just explain, so in terms of the beef, going back to the beavers 1 second. So we have a situation now where we eliminate them. What happens if they come back?
Well,
Because they will come back.
They will come back. So once you remove the dam, then it's just a matter of keeping it clear, which is a lot
Right.
less work and time consuming.
Right,
Particularly if you have buy-in from a second party.
Right.
So then, so long as we don't let the dam get to the point that it's at now, we won't have to deal with that
Right.
issue. And I don't think it'd be a future problem, because if they can't set up camps, they'll do something to track.
and we had voted for beaver deceiver. And then the decision was made not to.
Well,
do it.
it wasn't necessarily.
It was beyond.
We had to
it
deal
was
with
already-
what we have.
It was already too late.
We have to deal with what we had.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we had to deal with the beavers first.
Right.
And, deceivers are an option, I won't lie. But, that also requires ongoing maintenance, it also requires future replacement, so it's not like, there are pros.
It's not what's been done, yes.
And my thinking was bringing all those folks to the table was that at least then everyone's a part of the decision making. They don't know that the camp had really been engaged in that before.
Okay.
So now to move on to our
annual tax classification hearing and let's see it, Jay. Okay,
Yep.
thank you for doing that.
Guys, pull the chair.
Yeah, you can take it.
When it becomes close to me, they might.
Maybe we should. do that here.
But they
Oh,
have here.
chair, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's selling us for it.
Do you want to jump in the driver's seat?
Sure, oh, yeah. Sit here, okay.
I speak loudly because our microphone is on the left. hand.
Yes.
Or on your right hand.
That's a pet peeve of mine, watching the meeting, you can't hear.
Right.
Thank you.
Here's the door up here.
Oh, right up to the bars. Let's have the girls. I know what.
Just like to say that I am still trust and grateful for Jane's work. I don't know if folks, I think that Matt, but.
Well, yeah, it's, do introductions, yes. Yeah.
My name is John Wallahan, I'm the Director of Systems for Boulder Town, so I've just been assisting the assessors here on their tax rate setting process. So I'm happy to do that. We've been doing this for over 30 years almost.
Never your parents, just a board member.
Eric Stocker.
Okay, I've been watching some of the meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, good. Familiar. Thank you for having me. So this is the annual tax classification hearing for FY 26. So tonight the assessors are responsible for presenting different options to the select board in order for them to make decisions in terms of setting the tax rate. At this point, the town's financial decisions that are made, revenues that have been incorporated at town meeting, state has estimated how much money they will provide. Usually not enough. Not sure the free cash has been certified or not, part of the process.
Yeah, you look at it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The last item is to determine what percentage of the tax levy each class of property will bear. So tonight, the select board will be voting, hopefully be voting on a residential factor. This factor governs the percentage of the tax levy to be paid by residential property owners. Tax levy is revenue raised through property taxes to meet expenditures. It's a difference between revenue incorporated at town meeting and other sources of revenue, such as state aid. That's made it receipts, so I'm sure you're familiar with some of the terminology. I just prepared a packet. I didn't number these, I apologize for that.
Yeah, that's because I have extra, so.
I'll take it, I didn't print it, I looked at
Interesting.
Very
it,
good.
thank you.
Okay, this one says Jace, and it's on it, but it's.
Very good.
Brennan had sent me a made them, so.
Oh, okay.
Maybe during the packets if you have it.
No,
Very good.
we have two here.
Oh, good, that's, I'll take, well, I only need to take one.
Oh.
All right.
And so. The second page sort of outlining what I explained.
Yep.
So again, the last step of the process, values have to be. Determined by the assessors, they have to get approved by the state. They have to have a hearing. Board of the shift. And tax rates have to be approved by the Department of Revenue. The first values are approved and then the tax. Terminology, pretty much you're familiar on the next page. So the tax levy I explained, again, the difference between it's a lot of money raised through property taxes, so that's tax levy. The levy ceiling, Proposition 2.5, it limits the amount of revenue town can raise two ways. It limits the amount of money raised each year by 2.5% from the prior year's levy limit, and it it, limits the amount of money you can raise as a whole. Total valuation of property, 10.5%. So there's two constraints there. Let's skip. Like the tax rate. Blue cap page, in the middle of the. Let's start with the. Well, basically. One A, that's the total amount of revenue. At the town can raise, so that's $9 million and 46, one A B. B estimated receipts from, again, money from state aid. And the other fees that are coming in for license fees, permit fees. And then again, the tax levy is the difference. So in your case, you sort of, the levy is a predominant. Fund,
Yeah.
a predominant fund of the town. Does it raise it revenue.
And Jane, can I ask you, when it says total estimated receipts, what happens if the receipts change? Or is there the potential for them changing after the tax rate is?
Yeah, I mean, there might be like a variance, but you know, these numbers will be vetted through the tax recap process.
Okay.
Okay, so the Department of Revenue will review the recap document. This is just page one of the recap, with these other pages. So really, if there's any questions on that, really the town accountant will deal with those.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So the amount of valuation, the total amount of value in town. We have,
Oh, yeah, click on, it says that the GW just entered right here. Just click on it. Thank you, Leslie.
This one?
Yep.
And then admit.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
I might switch over then.
Yes,
It's gender.
so the total. On evaluation, which is on the bottom, so it's on D. Bottom of D was the total, valuation by class. 378, 799, 063. So of that. That residential class makes up almost 94% of that. Residential class was at the top, 93.8. So mainly it's a, you know, it's a bedroom community. So most of the value comes from the residential class. The next page, this is like the level limit worksheet. This is really the most important page in the process. When people ask you, you know, how much taxes can increase, you know, where the numbers come from. This is really the page. This is the outline. So this is, we can start at 2A. So you take last year's levy limit to 6,507,047. So that's your starting point. You add in your 2.5%. Okay, so that's, again, that's by law, what we can raise per year. Okay, 2.5%, so it's 162,676. You add in a new growth. 47,803. And you get your new subtotal, which is your new levy limit, which is 6,717,526. Get on to 3B, there's a debt exclusion on there, so the voters passed various debt exclusions. These are for the regional school projects, so you're taxing above the 2.5%. Or whatever, okay, so you have to do that by a vote from the residents. So that's the only way we can go above that total. Belchertown just passed a tax override. $2.8 million, okay, so again, so but by by the voters, they agreed to go beyond the law. Okay, so the law limits the amount of money you go each year. Unless the voters approve it. Hallie just had a override,
Defeat fit.
defeat, yeah, defeated. Pretty large margin there. Okay, so that's the blueprint of where you start, where you end up. Any question on that? No, okay. It's an important page. It kind of gives you, the flow is very good. Next page, I have the tax rates for the surrounding communities or comparable communities that I kind of cherry picked. Similar towns around here, some are a little different, makes us. This is from last year's data, it's fiscal year 25, okay, so it's not using current data, but, if you look at the average valuation for Shutesbury. Last year, it was just 395, 254, it's very comparable to the Peter Sam. 92, 276. Tax levies. For comparison purposes, you know, you're thinking last year, 5.6 million. At Pelham, 4.8 almost. Hardwick, 4.8, 4.9. So those are pretty similar. The average tax bills on this list, the largest average tax bill for single family homes, Pelham, the 8,298, Leverett, 7,156, and they're sort of the next tier down. When I do this presentation for Belchertown, I always use Wolverham. They're always higher than Belchertown, their average bill is higher. Amherst, their average tax bill is higher. Yeah, I think it's almost over $9,000 this year, $10,000 tax, which we go. So I would say, good news and bad news. You're lower than Wolverham too. You're lower than. So people ask about the tax rates. You know, the rate is just it's just a mathematical formula. You know, the makeup of your town contributes to, you know, what the levy is, what the expenses are. You know, the average single family home has been increasing here, so as it has throughout Western Mass. It's still going up, not as much as it was 3 or 4 years ago, but it's still increasing. Just gave the next page, just some statistics from the Department of Local Services. The tax bills, again, they're going up, you know, each year. And again, that's per the allowable approach that we just went through. Okay. So in fiscal year 22, we were at 5,800. I mean, you're creeping up 6,000, 6,100, 6,200 was another increase this year. People ask, why did my taxes go up? Budget, right? It's just a subject. The state's not giving anything more to offset it. And so it's just your budget's going up, those are your needs. States lowballing the aid, they're guarantee your money for your roads is kind of stagnant for 20 years. They haven't increased that. What they gave you for road maintenance 20 years ago is the same today. And then obviously the cost to, you can just take the pothole approach. The cost to fill that pothole this year, 5 years ago, was just more. The material, the labor, right? Everything that goes into filling that pothole costs more this year than 5 years ago. The state's giving you the same amount of money there. I just do the next page, I just have a comparison on the evaluations, broke that down through classes and property. Broke it down through single family, 2 and 3 family, I combined those. I think you only had 2 condominiums That's something maybe the town can look at moving forward, increase. Increase the town though. Solution. And yet your commercial, industrial. So again, we're asking the average taxpayer to pay a little more this year. The average tax bill last year was $6,268, and this year everything's approved, $6,770. The residential values have outpaced the commercials throughout the state, even though Hampton had their hearing last week, their property classification, so they're, even though Hampton, they have one rate. Their commercial base is only 16% of the town's value, so even though Hampton, you just think about that. Because
There's a lot of.
that's what I mean, a lot of commercial, but the residential is just outpacing. The commercial, I know in Boston. They have lower valuations for their office space. Because the vacancies, COVID and the working from home. So the commercial values in Boston went down, okay, so. Residential had to make that up.
Also client demand if you're working at home.
That's it.
Working.
Yeah, you don't need, some company doesn't need 2 floors anymore.
Right.
Right, they need 1 floor, so that's not that, that floor is vacant.
Who does the commercial valuations? Like, how are those done? Because the residential is pretty.
The residential, we didn't have too many sales,
Comparables and sales, yeah.
do the sales, you won't have too many commercial sales, even, well, I mean, it's the income approach of value.
Oh,
But
okay.
your standard rents,
Mhm.
rental base, so, what your rent for office space versus industrial. Versus apartments, so it's not to income approach. Again, those are flat. Because of the economics of it. And the one good thing is, we mentioned this, at the budget hearing or the finance committee meeting a couple weeks ago, your excess levy capacity. So again, that's the difference between your levy limit and your levy. Okay, so last year there's excess levy capacity of 740,049 for 26, you had 862,783. So that's the money that's not being appropriated, so it's really a savings that you have. That's money that to be appropriated through future fiscal years. It's actually good. Most towns, when they're struggling,
Excellent.
that maxes, you're hitting your rounding. You're raising it every penny you can. Okay, that's.
Yeah, and you can do that even if you were up at the 2.5%.
Yes.
Because it's levy capacity you didn't use in
Yeah,
previous
yes,
years.
Because in that chart that I showed you, you're starting to levy limit, not the levy.
Right.
That's the.
Right.
It's money, so it's a savings, but it's actually,
But it shows up in your tax rate. I mean, it shows if you use that excess levy capacity.
Yes.
their tax rate would be way off.
Right.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. But, I mean, there's no need for an override.
Right.
Because we had that money already sitting there. Hadley, they were short. I think their override was 2.5 million. They had a second one for 300,000 for a capital improvement, and even that fit. And so,
They have a really low tax rate.
yeah, well, that's actually.
Yeah.
$11 a thousand, or something like that. They have the commercial, but.
Yeah.
So in your case, if for some reason you had to raise 300,000 for equipment, a fire truck or, dump trucks or if you needed that 300,000, you have that, you don't have to go above that.
Right.
Worksheet that actually, 2.5 to raise, and you already sort of have. So that's
It's
actually,
effective to charge yourself
Oh,
to
yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
That's really-
yeah,
You still pay for
but,
it.
Yeah, no free lunch.
but you're still doing it through the current parameters.
Right.
You haven't maxed
Right.
it out.
Yes.
You haven't maxed that out. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to say. Hadley has maxed out, Belgium out has maxed that out.
Right, okay.
Okay, so they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Then they get the right. It's not just something.
I know, with Hadley, they're going out the firefighters, they went from full-time, part-time to full-time. A couple years ago, I think that you're gonna have to go back to part-time. I think that's just me talking about the cost. What I did, but I think that's just. If that overlap, figures.
Right.
Various shifts I gave you, it's not in your packet, it's the little handout. So. So those are kind of some of your options, if you were to. If you were to, change the tax rates, again, the rate change in, you've got different rates. That won't change the levy, just the allocation between commercial and residential would shift. Okay, but the levy would stay the same. So the spreadsheet I gave you here, tax rates of various intervals and classification, so right now we're at no shift. So we're at $16.19 per thousand. And if you shifted it, I just gave you various options, 10% increments. Okay, so the highest tax rate you could go for so CIP is commercial industrial first property. So the highest rate you could go would be $24.29. Versus the lowest that would mean for the residential rate, we'll get out to $15.66. So those are the parameters through the law, or through that law. Allows that, so the cities will choose these, there's mixed rates in the cities, Hoyoke, Trinity, Springfield, so they would choose a factor. They would split it up, they would lower the residential tax rate at the expense of the commercials. So it's a political, how they, yes, you see that go back and forth, Chamber got most schools, yeah. Be fair to us, then the senior citizen will say, I'm struggling too, so I haven't seen it for years, I've seen it. I may later, but it's, I should, it's, everyone has their.
Oh, it's reality. Yeah, right, it's reality.
This community, again, what you're. Gave you guys the last page of. Flat rate packets. It's because you're, again. Because the makeup of the town is mainly residential, you don't have enough commercial. Value to shift to make it worthwhile, Dodge's in the same boat. We have, 95% residential there too. Again, Northampton, they were talking about this the other night, they have 15%. Department of Revenue recommends you have 30% commercial to shift.
To a two.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we've always kept it at one, right?
Yeah, because we don't.
Right. We don't.
Again, so the calculation I did here, just because you're limited on the amount of commercial value that you have, just because, again, because of the down. For every dollar increase, for the commercial industrial property rate, every dollar you increase that rate, the residential rate goes down 7 cents. Okay, so.
And you admit ME on the device there.
Yeah.
So waiting room. Waiting room.
Yes.
I think we have to go, move. I think we have to cross it. Then we hit that. And then let's see.
Professional.
Good thing I went to it. Passing this week, rather than this last week.
He had Lenny doing it the last night. Great impression.
I haven't only had.
Yeah, it's pretty, yeah.
Don't do it.
Yeah. Just back in my, so again, because of the makeup of the town, you know, actually, this calculation is the same for Belcher now. For every dollar increase, in the commercial rate, decrease the residential rate 7 cents. So it's just, so you would put a greater burden on commercial property, which. And the residential,
Wouldn't have.
wouldn't say, they would say, it would be
What?
$30 a year.
Yeah,
A year.
yeah, right.
Okay, so for
Yeah,
a lunch hour. Right?
Right.
You're gonna raise.
Yeah.
You're gonna raise the commercial, so it's really, hate to say a non-starter, but it's really just a make of the town. You don't have enough of it to warrant it. And again, you wanna attract businesses in the town, so to be fair to them. I would rather just to pay similar rate, so that would be a factor. of the point. So I don't think the board made a recommendation, they're not required to, some boards will make a recommendation, they don't have to, I'll make a recommendation. So, as a consultant, that you would keep a factor of 1. And tax. The properties at a uniform rate, you have a mixed rate in there because of that, the means tested, so this would be above that. Above and beyond that.
I think I hear a note in there somewhere.
Oh, do you need a vote now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would have to go to work a vote on that. And that, and, again, that step, I think is documented through the recap process. And then we would forward those documents to the warrant.
Okay, so I will make a motion that we keep a single tax rate factor of 1.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Errol, I.
Starker, I.
Maybe beats on the line. Thank you very much, Jay. This was a great presentation.
Yeah, no, that's really,
Well done.
that's great.
This
Yes.
is exactly why we've been meeting somebody.
Yes, but we, yeah,
Yeah,
but we
it's just-
really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Enjoy doing it, doing it for a long time. It's different, the communities are different, but the process is the same.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's the numbers will change. There might be a form. Select board.
Is there something we have to
I
sign?
don't think you do.
No, there's four votes total they need to take.
Tonight?
Yes, I just did it wrong last year from the year before, so.
Yeah, I mean, you can take there if you wanted to take, I didn't know where the,
Things I can run up and get last year.
There's I didn't know where there's a open space discount and there's a small commercial exemption. And then there's, small commercial, yeah, so this rate, open space discount,
Oh, the residential factor, like if we wanted to charge second homes more.
yeah, this is sufficient really for the Department of Revenue, I mean, yeah, I mean, we can go over that next year. Those are really non-starters here, you just don't have enough.
Okay, there you go.
I know. We've always done these 4 things
You can
that
do it, I mean, well,
But it's not required, the deal.
we have last year's.
I do upstairs. and
Yeah, it's just finding.
I can remember.
Is very non. Search.
And what is the turnaround on Department of Revenue approval?
Well, we're gonna get it now because of the holidays coming up. Thanksgiving, so it takes,
Okay,
yeah,
so it's okay.
we're in good shape.
And then the tax bills get adjusted.
The third quarter tax bill.
Yeah, okay.
Third quarter will have the,
We'll have to.
any change in the values and the tax rate will affect. On the third quarter, so that's what it is, everything. Kicks in, so, yeah, your third and fourth quarter are higher
Right, absolutely. Okay.
Oh, and then everything were, and then firstly in July. First quarter of FY 27 is usually those bills are a little lower. The increases on the third and fourth.
Right.
Then they go down a little bit. First, second quarter, everything kind of like readjusts.
Yeah.
She can be faster.
Where to, I look. Or just try to balance, yeah.
I know we had it, I know that we had it empty.
You were faster than I was looking at. I got 2020s. But
Well, they're always the same every year.
No, I know.
It'd be just fun. It's, I read it wrong, but it's supposed to be, I'm sure. If you recall last year, David had an emergency and had to run off, and I said, you have done that. I did.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was four, yeah, so it was four.
Yeah, so we just did the single tax rate.
okay.
That's,
Yeah.
Factor one for residential, there's an open space discount. We don't have any, we don't have anything.
So we just
classified
vote,
as
we vote.
We don't have any open space.
And just go through them, and then
Residential
Uh,
exemption.
there's a residential exemption, that comes into play for properties at the Cape. So if someone had a summer home. If there's a summer home at the Cape, and suppose those could be taxed at a different tax rate.
we have summer.
We have that summer.
Yeah.
So,
You don't have, properties on, Cape Cod,
Cape
right?
Cod Bay.
And then, or it applies, it applies to
Small commercial.
communities that have large amount of apartment complexes, Chelsea, Brookline, so. They're getting a discount for those,
Right.
for the renters. And then, the small commercial exemption, again, we don't have enough, that applies for. I think the, qualifications are you have to have $1 million. Property with less than 10 employees. And again, if you're adopting any of these. Exemptions, other class of property are making up the difference. Okay, so. No one's getting a free ride, someone else is picking it up.
Right, you just transfer it from one. place.
So if you want to, you can just do it on one vote. To not adopt, the open space discount, small commercial exemption, the residential exemption.
I so moved.
Okay.
Did you get that? Yeah, Brennan's is not with us anymore. Okay, all right, good. You can just give him the language, yeah.
Set, do I have a
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Farrell, I.
Stocker, I.
Maybe so, no, I.
Great,
Thank you.
great. Thank you so much. This is wonderful.
Any other questions on the process?
No, this was great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for.
Glad I could help.
Much
Okay.
We are very grateful.
Yes, yes.
Very, it's been a long.
Yeah, yeah. Leslie.
I know what to tell you that.
Thank you. Very much. Thank you. Let's third back up.
Oh, thank you. Me too. I have that, like you folks know that I don't see notarize your signatures. Can I have something?
No, we've,
Brendan said,
hold on.
Mateo's there.
Yes, right here. Oh, yes, it's right here. So this is one of six of the thing we have.
I'm gonna stay and we're
Okay.
go back.
Okay, roll back.
Appreciate the notarization. Yes, it is notarized. All right, moving on to highway updates. Dave. Hi, Dave. Can you give us, are you comfortable running the machine?
Sure, what do I have to do?
At the moment, nothing. If someone comes on and can we ask me, the person that signed in as me, can we ask them to identify themselves, please? So the person that's on Zoom, oh, thank you, Fred. Okay, so Dave, go ahead and give us your highway update. What would you like us to know?
There's no whole lot to say, except for, we're getting ready for winter.
Yeah.
We've switched our focus to winter. And we've started to work on a lot of our plows and get them ready. We lost our grader. We didn't quite get through the whole season with it.
Oh, no.
And
did-
so, yeah, the one of the pumps sprung a leak, pretty significant leak, so we had to put that in the shop. We tried to get through the summer as much as we could to take care of the dirt roads, and we did pretty good. We just didn't get Cooleyville, and some of the other roads got graded twice. So Ben has taken over the reins of that grader, and he's done really well with it. So I'm pretty proud of his abilities and his skills that he's taken on. So he did a really nice job of trying to save the grader for the most of the summer. Then our tractor went down a couple times. We got it repaired, and then it blew a leak, so we had to repair that. And we got it running, and we're using it. We used the York rake the other day to do the lower part of Pratt Corner, get rid of a lot of the washboards down there, and that worked really well. That's an 83 grader, 83 tractor. So she's still leaks. And we're trying to, hopefully in the wintertime, we'll be able to get it in the shop and play with that a little bit. But everything else seems to be doing pretty good. We got the 10-wheeler sticker ready, so we're gonna have that, get a sticker on that. Maybe, I think Leverett might have to borrow that 10-wheeler again this winter, because they have a truck they're gonna try to fix up. It needs some repairs. So if they need it, it'll be there. They've lent us a lot of stuff over the past year. Tractors, blower equipment, things like that. So it's nice to keep the relationship going between the two towns. So that's worked out really well. As far as some of our dirt roads, they did a little washout. We had a washout on Sand Hill. We fixed that. Got the water flowing away from the road instead of tearing the road out. That's a pretty steep hill. There's a lot of ledge, so the water stays on top of the ledge, and it's hard to keep the material on the road there. So we did some bank shaping, and it seemed to help, and it's held all summer since then. So, and we obtained a tank to hold magnesium chloride for dust control next year. We weren't able to get a sprayer yet. I'm working on possibly getting a used one. I've got a bid on to purchase one, a new one, and I'm trying to save some money and get one that's used that we can use to slide in one of the big trucks so that we can spray it out on the dirt roads. That will save 2 inches a year on our dirt roads. So whatever money we get to put down on the roads, hopefully we can keep it there. And hopefully we'll get our grader back first thing in the spring. We can, go to town on the roads there. So other than that, there's not a whole lot to talk about. Looking into, I've got to go to a meeting tomorrow about grants for dirt roads. Possibly there's a grant that can help us to put some money on a grader. I don't know exactly the amounts. I won't know until after tomorrow.
Right.
And then Haley and I are going to look into putting the application in for the grant for the dirt roads or gravel road, whatever we can use to purchase equipment to take care of the gravel roads. And then whatever Chapter 90 money we have left over, we're going to try to do something on West Pelham. That road's needing some repair. I'm hoping that we can scarify the top part of it because Tim put chip seal down and that chip seal's breaking up everywhere. It did its job for a while, but it needs to be, I would hate to put a shim coat over that and then put another top coat over that if the bottom part is falling apart. So I'd like to just scarify the top of it, get that chip seal off, and then put a skim coat and a finish coat on it. I don't have the cost of that yet. I have to find out about what it would cost to scarify the top of that. So it won't be until spring or somewhere in that area. I saved the chapter 90 money because I wasn't sure what we were going to do with the grader. Half of our roads in town are dirt, so that grader is very important. Hopefully we can obtain or get enough repairs on it so that if we do get a new grader, this one will hold until we get the new grader. I don't know how long it would take to get a new grader even if we were to do that. So we'll put in for it again this year. And hopefully the grant will help on top of whatever chapter 90 money we have if the town approves of that. So we'll put it in and we'll see what happens and where it goes. But we don't have any backup equipment. And what I mean by that is we only have one grader, we only have one front end loader, we have one backhoe. The only backup we have is dump trucks, which we have 4 of them. 2 of them are discontinued models. I thought we were going to be getting rid of the big 10-wheeler when we got the new 10-wheeler, but that didn't happen. So we have to repair all of this stuff when it breaks. So that eats into our maintenance budget for equipment. So that's where we're at now. I mean, the problem with some of the equipment is it's outdated. The 10-wheeler has a computer system on it, has a pollution control system on it, and it's all computerized. And we don't have computer equipment to read the computers. And so when it comes to servicing that truck, we have to send it out to have it serviced. We can't service that at the garage because we don't have the computer system to do it. And the Western Star is the same thing. It has the same computer system on it. So we're looking into having the servicing of those being done professionally because they have the computers to read the equipment. We don't have that. We have a limited. Yep, go ahead.
Rita has a
Oh,
question.
yeah, I just had a question. So, my recollection is that you had asked for a new grader and then that didn't fly for this year. But then we put, was it $18,000?
That was just repairing it.
That was repairing. So did we spend that $18,000 and we
No,
still?
The amount was 16,000,
Oh,
and
okay.
that was on a 2-year-old bid to repair the grader. So that when I got the bid to do the repairs, there was only a 30-day bid. Now it's from Amherst Welding. The grader is now at Amherst Welding, and they're looking into prioritizing the leaks. You know, to try to take care of the leaks with the money that we have to repair those.
I see. Okay.
So we're going to be pretty much trying to just get rid of the leaks.
Uh-huh.
As
But you
far
have the money to do it.
yes,
It's just that long term, if we can get, especially if we can get that state grant, and you can use chapter 90 money for equipment,
yes,
correct?
yeah. So we'll look into that. We have a good amount right now on the chapter 90. So I'm trying to prioritize what's the most important thing to use the money for. I held off on doing anything with the chapter 90 money until I found out whether or not we were going to need some of it for the grader, and then prioritize after that. Because if you think about it, the grader is what takes care of half of the roads in town. So it's a very important piece of equipment. Unless we pave the dirt roads. We know that's not happening in a couple of years.
The grader's cheaper than the gas.
It is, yeah. The town's been very generous helping us with getting some material put down on the dirt roads and I don't know if anybody else has noticed it, but a lot of the roads now don't pothole like they used to. Because we've been putting down 3/4 inch crushed gravel and 3/4 inch crushed stone in areas where it usually washes away. And then we started using a roller that we got for free. Ben actually found somebody who had a pull behind roller. So we started using that. We used that on Sand Hill and that worked really well. But all it is an old tank and it's welded to a frame and you pull it behind a pickup truck. But that's all we could do to roll the roads. Unless you can roll the dirt roads, you're going to lose material. And it also increases the dust if you don't roll them. So yeah, we're trying to get it so that we can spray the dirt roads for the dust, keep the material on the road, keep the dust away from people's houses. I get a lot of complaints about dust. And with the new tank, and hopefully if I can get a used sprayer, the cost will be 1/4 of what it would cost to do one spraying for 2 roads a year. So I will be able to spray the roads after that for years to come if I can keep this system in place. Trying to save the town money on maintenance of the dirt roads. So it's taken some work, but we're getting there. We got cleaned up the highway barn. We cleaned up the inside of the barn, so it's easier to work in there. It's a small barn. You can fit 3 big trucks in there and that's it. And then the bays out in the back aren't heated. And it's gravel floor. So, we're working with what we have. The salt shed's falling apart, the sand shed there. So we've been out talking to the building committee and seeing what we can do about that. So that's pretty much the update for the highway. I mean, if you have any questions, I can hopefully answer them for you.
I was just gonna thank you for the white lines on the roads.
Yes.
It really make a big difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just driving, for those of us with aging eyes, driving at night. I think it makes a huge difference. And if it's foggy at all,
Yeah.
they really do help. So thank you for hearing that suggestion and carrying it forth.
Yeah, Eric mentioned it last year and we had a limited budget last year and I went to the FERCog's bid process and we found somebody who was cheaper. And they did the whole town in like 3/4 of a day. And they were able to do the white lines and the double yellow lines throughout all of the main roads. So that worked out really well.
Yeah,
They
that's
did an
great.
awesome job.
I had the pleasure of driving Sand Hill Road last weekend and I was impressed with how smooth it was. Didn't have the washboard on that hill. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
So just for laughs, what's a new grader cost? I said
Um,
laugh.
Well, we did the bid process last year. We did a Cat and a John Deere. Those are the major companies that make those. You have Case and you have others. A brand new grader without the municipal discounts and all that's around $700,000 for a brand new grader. The grader that we have now was purchased for a little over 100,000. So over 20 years or more, that's how much the price has gone up on equipment. So, but we got it down to right around 400 with the municipal help and others, that the lease program, we were able to get it down. So that, I don't know if the lease program will be available, but this grant thing sounds pretty promising. It's a large
Right.
amount of money.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can do that.
Great.
All right.
We'll get by.
Well, we'll get that grant that will.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Haley and I will look at it tomorrow, maybe, or Thursday, Friday. But tomorrow's Thursday, right? Yeah. I'm going to a class at 10 o'clock. It's a Zoom meeting with the Grant Central. And so hopefully I can find out as much information as I can. I already have the application. So we could look at the application and see what it takes to apply for it. Really would love to get this grant. That would be a huge help. Yeah, so we'll work on that.
Good. That's great.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome.
Okay, so discussion about the well access to Spring Community Church. So I checked in with Donna. About that, you had brought that to us, Karen. And I haven't, been wrote on my little note on here. So there is something, related to the anti-aid amendment statute. However, but there's also a few other things that she has tasked us, or me and Leslie, with looking back at the deeds and water rights, because they may have water rights to the land. Prior, that may be in a deed, so either a deed chain with that, in the church chain of changing hands, or the town common chain of changing hands. So she has tasked us with that piece. I did ask her because they had PFAS in the water, because the well had PFAS in it. Because we had supplied other corporate homes with the well filters in the church, that's fine. We don't need to look at that piece. But we need to check in to see if there was any water rates for anything. If there was, then we can write a letter to them about maintaining the pipes and maintaining the connection to the well, and permission. So that then opens up there's also a septic tank related church in the town as well. So there's a few areas we have to research, so that is an ongoing process.
I was wondering about that septic tank, because there
Is on the back right hand, corner of the church in the town common, potentially under the road.
right. So if that were to fail and that had to be.
This helps answer the
excavated,
question.
right.
So this helps, because they only have the one foot property line on either side of the church.
Right.
There's also a fire escape, not for us, they have to replace the fire escape, it's deteriorated. So they need to, they'll need to, like with the elevator, they had to work out the. Cause that's also, that's on part, right? So there's multiple levels, but for the water, we need to do some more research and whether there's been water rates being made to them.
Right.
Through any of the changes.
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the church initially may have been multi-use, so it may have been not strictly a church at the point in which this may have occurred.
Right.
Because the sanctuary is on the second floor. What, there's no.
And how old-
churches?
how
I
old
know.
is the, how old is the church?
29. I think that's what's on the front, 1820 something. I meant to look before when I turned to come here.
So Leslie, and you were gonna be digging into the.
Leslie has done a lot of work already with some work with the pastor getting some history together and Century Historical Commission.
Yeah.
At one point and really tied into the Chiefsburg history. It's a good place to rope her in. Donna did mention a title search if with the person she uses for title searching, that we can use too. If we certainly if we come up on any roadblock. But get a little initial work done.
And could we kind of retroactively deed water rights?
That's a question, and so we have to get the initial information.
Okay, so we're gonna see what the
If it was
actual
given, if it was given, and we had to repair this spring, so or summer. What happened?
So.
This spring, it was before town meeting. Anyway, I don't exactly. So.
whatever it was, it was hot. And I guess the same would hold then for the septic tank too.
Like the.
Is it a tank or is it a leach field or is
It's a
it?
system. I'm imagining it's a system. This is a pure gas with no background.
Okay, be good to know.
So one of the questions I had is like, what happens? We're trying to think what's in that building.
Right, right.
So
Right.
if we have water, we have water, there's water there. And the leaching, all of us says those, you know, I don't know, all that factors in, but it might factor
Maybe
in.
being in the fire library building.
Yeah.
So there's water, but, yeah, it has PFAS in there.
Right.
So, and then I don't know what, we need to know about that well, like how deep is that well, how, you know, what's the,
Well, information. Maybe
Yes.
along the line we find that too.
yes, yeah.
Good point.
Because if it's a shallow,
No,
it's
it's right.
shallow well, it's not good.
Less than talking about the well.
Yeah.
1941. See, she's already got more information than I have to talk about.
It was,
prepared in advance today thinking about talking about it.
Well, did Donna have a task you, Leslie, with looking at the deeds and if there was water rates at any point?
Well, I have not looked at deeds, I have not think so, because the deed for the church, is the original deed from Davis College, somebody, and the town hall, same thing. And we can't even be sure, there's a 1941 town report that says $200 were spent to put a well on the town land. But the key is when you get to the 1968 Town Hall Investigating Committee, and then the 67 Investigating Committee and the 1968 Town Hall Building Committee, that means the other building, this one was a school. It says that the well was tested as safe for drinking and cooking. But it was inadequate because it didn't have a curb around to keep the surface water from draining in. So they,
Ground level.
and if you look at it now, it has that 1 foot curb, which I think has recently been repaired. They look like it's been repaired. So, but there's nothing, you're not gonna find anything in a deed. I have, and if you're looking to see precedents for these things, I have a 1988 vote of the select board where Reverend Douglas was authorized to temporarily plug the water line at the old building so they can do repairs at the church. I have a 1985 select board vote for the select board voted that to allow the church to install a septic system because one of them, they're both the same. So.
That answered the second question.
We have a chronology here going back to 1937 with where there's been shared use and every old home day was always at the church and here. I'm not sure what I missed your discussion at the beginning.
That's okay, because you and I are gonna sit down and go through what Donna asked. I think if we present Donna with that chronological order.
Yes,
I think that will
and those
help
votes.
us the next.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that helps.
these are
Thank
the
you.
votes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great to Leslie.
Yeah.
Good start.
The agenda will kind of only because we were on.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Let's, me and you get together, we'll write that chronology, out for, Donna, I'll take it back to Donna, and get it for answers. And we'll put this on another select meeting.
All right. That sounds good. All right.
Awesome, thank you, Leslie, you're so good.
Oh, I wanted to do a town comment public presentation, right as I was getting off of the. Still.
I think you guys, it'd be good to have you guys still.
I don't know. I had to retire from sisters.
We're gonna do that.
I appreciate that work ahead of time. So we'll pat and toss this on to the next select board meeting. And hopefully, Don will get back to us. with some better advice, because all of that, there is a 20-year connection. Water rate thing in the city of Boston doesn't apply to churches and town wells. It's.
Yeah, right.
There's some vagueness there. So we'll ordered on that one. Great.
Yeah, complicated.
Yeah, we're a little orderly for the discussion of Beth Wilson.
We need the vote for the. Oh, shit. Yeah.
I'm used to it.
The thing that wasn't on the agenda to do that.
That's unanticipated.
Unanticipated, but we could move that. Yeah, move that.
Yeah, so we get, in case there's anybody waiting to come at 6:30 after these things change. Yeah, so that's a great idea. I vote for that. Good, okay. So the unanticipated piece of business was a grant for conservation restriction at 101 Leverett Road in Shrewsbury. That's the spend, this is the right one, right? Okay. I couldn't remember the address. And so we've already voted on this prior to it being submitted to state and returned. It's been returned, so we have to vote and sign on it.
Right, because we were supposed to vote, we were supposed to sign it after this day of approval.
Right, okay, and so we're correcting ourselves. And it needs to be notarized, which Leslie has agreed to do something. Do I hear a motion to re-sign?
Yes, could you just give me the right to turn on?
Yes, I'll read it right from it, great.
Thank you. So I make a motion that we execute the grant of conservation restriction for 101 Leonard Road in Shrewsbury.
So, a second.
All those in favor of signing,
Carol, I.
Stuck, right?
big piece of, and since it needs to be notarized, we'll have to sign it now for.
Okay.
I had to remove the sticker. But I believe.
Still wanted.
Leslie does very much on the rest of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you, this part too.
I don't think I just need the signature page.
There are 2 pages there. Just, there's 2. Probably such page. No, no, not for her, for that. Yours too.
So we've got a space for 3 names here.
Yeah.
What's this one?
And it's just the second page that was on it.
Yeah, maybe it's what they do, but she asked.
Oh, I got it.
Right.
Yeah, for Rebecca too.
Yeah.
Okay. So you all told us to react and G.
I do.
We do.
Or if the open notification space to access the sheet. Okay. I still see you soon. All right. All right, we have still 8 minutes. Do you want me to get it just each turn? Or do you want to do it?
Oh, just, I think, my sense, and Haley can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that my sense is that the, Energy Committee has decided, I think that doing the whole EV thing right now is just a bad idea. And, I think.
I couldn't find a good place.
Couldn't find a good place for it. It's one of these things where like, if you have an electric car in Shutesbury, you probably can charge it at home. You're not gonna go to the library or the town hall or the whatever and sit there for 2 hours while your car charges. It's not gonna happen. You're gonna say, I'm gonna put a car charger in my house. So the real issue is like, are you providing electric battery charging for people who are not living in town, which you could be, which is maybe fine in its own right. But it's not an issue that really affects us directly. In other words, if you're going home for the amount of the weekend or something, you want to stop this library, ready to charge your car, might be helpful, but it's not really our fault.
I guess the only time I could see, so to add into that is if the actually were the electricity. That may be the only time really having the residents. Of the church.
Right,
Who's like providing.
right. Right, yeah. it's good.
That charging will be half.
Or is that any alcohol of some again?
Um,
Yeah, I mean, I would charge at home,
and if you lose power,
but a generator.
generator, okay, yeah.
So generator would charge my car.
Oh. Right. Well, I think that was the other thing. We could revisit it.
Yeah, we could-
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the general sense too, is it was the state of a lot of money, and there's a lot of incentives to make all this work.
Right.
Yeah, and look at what it looks like, you know.
I think we get the library up and running. And see.
Right.
Let's go.
Yeah, it really does depend in the library's case, it depends, there are 12 parking spaces there. At least one of which theoretically is gonna be, like, all the time to be filled with staff. So there's 11, 10 or 11, say. And if we lease the equipment from the electric charger provider, they want to make sure there's always a place open. You can always, because they're making money basically.
Right.
So so they can't, in other words, the stores, you gotta be open for this, well, like this.
Right, right.
And, you know, there's just a fear that like there aren't enough spaces there. No, it's just get too messy.
Not the right time.
Not the right time. And we just felt we could do it later, you know.
Make later.
Yeah.
Get better.
See what happens.
All right.
There you go.
It's like, yes, introductions and.
Okay, Beth. Would you like to slide up to the front?
Yeah, you are not at the. Yeah, I know I said the phone thing.
Yeah, I think something is speaking burger.
Yeah. Set out. A little parallelogram. Oh, my God.
I just wanted to go.
We're just trying to talk about a couple things, you guys.
Sit right up there.
Yeah.
Take it close to the mic.
Yeah, it's very hard to hear. That's what I thought, yes, so, leading in. So the first one is, there's a potential land purchase. Castro came to us about large parcel that's, off of Wendell Road. It abuts the Brightwater Ball parcel. And then it's all one parcel, but it goes across the road. And this little section on the other side of the road, they've asked if the town would want to buy that. So it's the Footed family, right? There's the Footed family, who is, been telling me they have to go about this whole thing. So Kestrel came to our contract meeting and just talked about that. It's got 9 acres. Well, west side of Wendell Road, and it abuts Southbrook Conservation Area. So it really would be kind of a nice piece to add on to Southbrook Conservation Area. And we were thinking a CBA grant, they're looking for 80,000. So I'll introduce Lee in a second, he can tell you more, but I just kind of wanted to introduce it. 80,000 is what Footed is looking for, that 9 acre part. So we thought CPA and wanted to see how select board felt about going after the CPA application for that.
Also cheap, but isn't it a lot of them pretty cheap for the land, you know? I mean,
9 acres.
Land.
I think it's
not complaining.
it's already in, it's already concerned. Right. It's already has a conservation restriction on it or CR.
There is a conservation restriction on the land to the east of Wendell Road, but not the land that's between Montague Road, Fox Pond Road and Wendell Road. So that's the 9 acres that we're proposing to now consider purchasing because it's adjacent to your existing land. So that is not protected, the other one is.
Do you think 80,000 is?
So that's the appraised value. We got an appraisal on it. We don't break up values for a non-profit. We pay an appraiser, a professional to look at these things and your zoning and recent sales and all those sort of things. So that's the price that they came up with for that portion of the parcel. Yeah, really unusual that it crosses all these roads, part of it's protected, part of it's not, but that's what the appraiser does, separates out those bits and pieces. I think it's $82,000 if I've got it right. Yeah.
Oh, then it's well, wetlands too, right? Is that what?
Oh.
I think it's provincial wetlands.
Yes, this.
More ones on the east.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, yeah.
And a stream runs right through it. And there's a bit of frontage and a really steep, you know, you would never be able to build because of two streets on gravel.
Right, right, okay.
And
That's
over on Locks Pond, I forget, I'm guessing there's only one enough frontage for one lot.
And that's all the
Can you
things.
say that again, Leslie, because I don't hear you.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. I was asking this morning where it was. So,
So this is Montague Road.
no, this is Locks Pond.
This is lots of, I would say, I'm all confused, okay.
And this is Wendell Road, the gravel portion of Wendell Road. You know, you go out.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Center of town.
Yes.
they go off to the left.
Pond goes straight, and the gravel portion is the continuation of Wendell Road, and it goes out beyond the lake.
Lady slipper on the left.
So about 3/4 of a mile down. Almost, yeah. Across the river, right over here.
Yeah, okay, the
Yeah.
dirt part.
And Ames Haven is this off.
Is this Brightwater here?
The dark green, the dark green with the black.
That's,
Gene Foote owns all of this. And this, and room on the other side.
okay.
There's only a tiny bit of frontage here and it's now accessible. And there's a stream here and there's a stream here that doesn't show up. And this little stream runs all the way over to Locks Pond Road. So there's, both, it's, the, I don't know what you call it, but it's lots of ups and downs. It's not, it's.
Topography,
Yes.
Bedrock all across me. so
Yeah.
things.
But I'm guessing along here, there's enough frontage for a building lot. And that's probably what is driving it upwards to the $82,000.
So that makes me, and I'll put on my sort of CPA hat, is saying, you know, one of the things that we have been thinking about is we have funding for, affordable housing, you know, set aside 10% of minimum 10% of CPA. And we've been looking to use it. We've done one lot. We did one property with Habitat for Humanity. So, you know, if there was the potential for doing carving out, and a lot of communities combine their CPA, open space and community housing money for acquisition. That would be something to think about. That if we could carve out a lot potentially, might make the use of CPA money, because we really want to do something with housing. Our housing money.
And I wish I'd known about this earlier because this is South Brook Conservation Area, all the way down to the lake. This was the more recent purchase. I originally had that little piece. Then I bought, well, I should say, I and my first husband bought this much. Then I on my own bought this crazy thing. Sold the lot cabin, sold this. This little piece I kept here. Yep, I kept that because I wanted to maintain my meditation area. It's right along a stream that I'm talking about. That was going to blow around. I had said at one point when Jean was still living that I would give it back to her, but and it never happened, but I would be delighted to just add that in for extra acreage, but not for the housing, but work that in. Kestrel wanted it, it's about one acre. Believe I it's all mapped out and everything. It's
Bit of talk, yeah, that's great. Nothing like local knowledge.
Yeah, I really like it. I'm so glad I can't stay on. Because it was too late to do something in June and. That's what I was. I can still meditate. I'm getting old.
Lee, you want to talk a little bit about the other side of the road, the larger?
Sure, should I come up there? Can people hear me?
They're gonna slide around.
So, yeah, Kestrel owns the land at Brightwater Bog, and I've been doing quite a lot of board work and things in there lately. It's a very popular place. It's a nice, beautiful location, and this 200 acres really is right beside it. And it's already protected, but Kestrel thought it could be great for us to actually also own it, maybe able to do some extended trails through there. I think the family did approach us and just seemed to want Kestrel, right? They seem to want to know what was happening with it for the future. While it is protected, depending on who owns it, that can mean different things. So that's why we're particularly interested in it. You know, Kestrel likes to see our landscape protected, be it farms, forests, riverways, trails, whatever it is. We don't necessarily feel the need to own the land as such, and where town of Shrewsbury owns some land nearby, to us it makes sense to suggest to the town, would you want to own this? You've got a large area, we've got continuous area over here. So it's relatively cheap because it is already protected, inexpensive, I should say. But just looking at the whole picture, it's like, well, maybe we can divide this up and everyone can benefit. It seems like there's a snowmobile trail through there when we get snow. There's a trail that goes through that land that we're sort of saying to the town, are you interested? So that also seems to be a continuity there, but yeah, it's an amazing 200 acres. It lacks a lot of protected land already, and Kestrel's really excited that we could manage more, particularly for trail reasons.
Kestrel is planning on, that larger piece, we're planning on buying that in January-ish, or the beginning of 2026.
Yeah, there's some changes in the family. June passed, and we're not quite sure exactly who we're dealing with at what timeframes, but it does seem like early should go.
And what are you paying for that parcel?
So it is an appraisal that we have. So unfortunately, I'm not the main project person on this. The main person couldn't come tonight. I live on the Pelham Shrewsbury line, so I'm a good fill-in. I believe it's around, I'm going to say it's around just over 200,000 for the whole thing. Now, because that land on the east is already protected, it's a lot less value per acre than the lot that, you know, we're proposing the town look at, which is unprotected and potentially buildable. Rest is not at all. So that's all figured into the pricing of the appraisal percent.
And Rita was talking about how would footers feel about if the town looked at that parcel for sort of multiple use conservation and potentially.
Yeah, okay. I don't know that. I can try to find out. Yeah, I mean, I would have to find out. I mean, in the end, if they're selling it at full market value, that's one thing, but you know, we don't want to go against landowner wishes and things, but that's something we can explore. I'd be interested to look at the appraisal and just see what it said about that and frontage and that sort of thing. I mean, may not need a whole lot of acreage, but that's probably, yeah, another 2 points, another whole conversation to have with the family.
I do see Leslie's name.
Have you read what the Massachusetts conservation restriction says? There are a lot of conditions that don't have them in my head. So that, I don't know how that would work if the town, I assume you're saying the town.
Well, this land has a CR on it, but this land doesn't.
Right,
So,
but you're talking about this 200 acres right now.
Kestrel,
It's all right. I went back and forth. I did confuse
Yeah.
that.
But it's not the town, but Kestrel would buy the 200 acres.
So unfortunately, it's all one parcel. Everything here right is one parcel. It's strange that it goes across all the roads. So
I see.
the whole thing is, right on 200 acres. I'm not sure exactly what, maybe 196.
Probably.
Well, there's that issue as well. And Kestrel would need to get a survey a part of all this. Kestrel would need to go to your planning board to see if we can separate that parcel to make sure there's all the road frontages and all the other requirements. So due process is there, but that's protected. This bit isn't.
Yeah, and Kenneth would buy this one, and they're wondering if the town wants this one.
I see.
So in the end, we buy the whole lot.
Oh, I see, and then you would
It's
say.
one parcel. Yeah,
I
so
see. Okay,
unless the family was to divide it off first and try to sell it separately, and I don't think they want to deal with that. I think they want to keep it as simple as they can.
I see, okay.
So Kestrel will buy the whole lot. divide
And
it
the
off.
whole thing is $200,000.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have that number.
It's actually 80, so you're saying. One of two of those. Okay.
I've got an idea, it's about 200,000.
The whole thing.
But
Okay,
obviously land with a conservation restriction is going to be much lower value per acre.
right,
Than that
right.
9 acres that doesn't have a conservation restriction. Sorry, I don't have those figures on top of my head. Will you go? Virginia, did you want to do?
No, I haven't seen any appraisal yet.
Yeah. I can find out all this information and get it to you via Beth or directly.
Where's the house? Where's which house?
It's house, it's up here on Moss Pond, and it's right there.
Oh, it's right here.
Yeah, with the wide open field.
That's a house. Okay, so this lot starts across the street and just down, right here.
Correct.
Okay,
And it ends up right on my road, right there. This was Patsy Carson's house, if you knew where she
yeah.
lived.
yeah.
And it crosses over, right through here. This is the Beaver Pond. I live here.
Okay,
This lot they had held out as a possible sale before they sold to Massachusetts.
yeah,
So there is still one building lot that they own,
Yes, that's what I'm saying too.
and they're probably keeping that out of sale.
We're not talking to them about that. That's what I can, I guess I can.
so the steps for you guys, are you need to get a survey done. Do you get an appraisal too, or?
Well, we already have, we got the appraisal on the land to make an offer to the family.
I see,
Well,
okay.
we're doing it at appraised value. I don't think we would have a reason to get another appraisal. I don't know the date of that previous appraisal, but they tend to be good for a year.
Mhm.
If there's a reason to get another one, we would, but I don't think it's gonna be outside of a year. I don't think we need to. I'm sure we can share the appraisal with you. I'm assuming it splits it all up.
Right.
Share that with you.
And as far as you know, Beth, this is, there are not a lot of wetlands here. Or on this, on the 9 acres.
Yeah, I haven't really walked it. I mean, this map here's got,
Shows what.
it's this is sort of the state wetland layer. There may still be some other wetlands. I mean, I think this meeting was just to kind of see how you start talking about it.
Yeah.
This idea of housing is very interesting.
Yeah, well, it's been done in a lot of other communities, CPA communities in the state, when they're contemplating buying open space to say, we have an affordable housing problem and you can't buy first time home buyer couldn't buy an affordable house in the town of Shrewsbury anymore. What was our average? We're up to like 300. So, when we have the CPA money specifically for, so when we have an opportunity like this, where we say, and we don't have a lot of buildable lots. When we have an opportunity like this, where the town is coming up with money and you could use a combination of the, our open space and recreation money and our housing money for acquisition and saying, okay, we could put, we could have a house lot there and it would be specific, and it has to be for CPA, for using CPA money. It has to be income restricted to no more than 100% of the area median income. And then, Habitat sells their houses for $175,000 for a net zero house. I mean, it's,
How much money does the CPA have to roughly?
oh, yeah, we have at least $400,000 in the housing part, set aside, but you can use above that.
Yeah.
I think there's like $60,000, something like that. So, and then, you know, we have used quite a bit of our other historic and open space of recreation. Housing is the one area where we've used the least amount of money, and that's, you know, one of the reasons it's so hard to do any kind of affordable housing in a community that doesn't have land, septic, has no infrastructure.
Yeah, right.
So if we get the opportunity, I think, you know, we should be jumping at it and saying, okay, yeah, this is.
Well, that's a great idea, and like I said, I can raise it with Bridget, who's my colleague, and she would presumably raise it with the family. I believe the family's trying to keep things as simple as possible, and.
But an acquisition for you, I mean, it would be simple in the sense that you'd be acquiring the whole parcel, right? Rather than.
Yeah,
That would they be putting restrictions on it? Is that?
they probably can't put any legal restriction on it. But generally speaking, if we're buying land from people, we like to honor the purpose of their approaching us, those sort of things, so. I don't think it'd be a legal issue, but is this the intent of the landowner that approached us? We can explore that, that would be something we need to figure out.
Yeah.
But yeah, good thinking, let's see where it goes.
Maybe we come back and talk about the CPA schedule, we just have to keep that in mind. So if, do you want?
I think it's actually now it's due tomorrow. Wednesday, Friday.
Ours is advice, yeah, so yeah, so we have a two-step process where we have, you know, letters of interest, or eligibility determination, and then the applications are due sometime in, December. You know, we can sort of take stuff out of cycle if we have to, but an application could be, you know, could be done. I would think it would be really much more compelling if it came in saying that, you know, that there was interest in, making a lot available for affordable housing if it was buildable. So, and that would have to be explored.
Given CPA money is being used for the conservation portion of it, Kestrel would need to hold a conservation restriction over it. It's part of using CPA funds for open space. So it needs to be a conservation restriction. So anyway, in due course, whether there's a house lot taken down or not, there would need to be a conservation restriction.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's been done, as I said, lots of communities, CPA communities that are Commonwealths have done this before, so it's not unusual to be carved out.
Yep.
So. That's something we'll just get some more info. And then I would say if anybody from the family wants to, you know, explore sort of what the CPA process is, or, you know, what our guidelines are, that Mateo Pondello, who's our land use clerk and was chair of the CPA committee, would be the best person to talk to.
Sure.
That's great. And we're glad Kestrel's, you know, interested in.
Just as an introduction and.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Leslie. You should come to all our meetings. Yeah, really. Historian.
And then we have we also have the February 26th and forward assessment. Would you like to listen?
Yeah. So we got, it's regional, Oh, no, but whatever. It's the lane. And PEPC is the one who's gonna do a lot of the chunk of the work, and Amherst actually submitted the application, so they're doing all of the, reporting to the grant people, starting the grant contract and all that, so we're just sort of benefiting, I think, a little bit. Where they're at right now is we're starting to try to plan, there's some community outreach that's required under the grant, and the grant is really, it's doing assessments of culverts, I think I told you guys before. And they're, the grant is really to hire these interns. I think next year will be the prime, so I don't know if they do it, it's a 2-year grant, but they might be doing some of the work next year. And they will go to every culvert in Shrewsbury, Amherst County, Belchertown. Boy, they shows one of the towns, yeah.
Have we lived?
Yeah. And then put all the information into this course that Atlantic Aquatics. Set, what is this? Atlantic Aquatic data. It's all information on culverts. As a web page. And that works. Number of days and then the data into it. And so that's a big part of it too, is they collect that they, there's a whole process of doing the inspections that's been spelled out, the forms. Here's how you enter the data into the database and all that. So that's that, and we're just starting to have some meetings kind of about it, but one to start off, they want each community to have a community meeting. And my engagement guidance on that, but the idea of that is to have anybody, any departments, staff people, but also be advertising to the community to talk about what culverts people think on problems. Where are the culverts in Shrewsbury ones? Do people really have concerns about? And that's really kind of almost like a mapping exercise. And we're also going to have a meeting with DPW, which is just to get them on board, that would be after the community wants, these are the culverts. This is sort of the process for doing. This is the database that will be available to DPW going into the future. So now you'll have a ranking of your culverts, and so the idea is that DPW would go after the repairs. Those first. So those 2 meetings are kind of what they want done right soon. And they're gonna start looking for interns. We don't have to worry about that. Each town is also supposed to provide, this is all the same stuff, a liaison. And that's the person to get the training on doing the inspection. But it would be more a community who talk to people about the culverts, like if you're coming, there's a culvert that's in your yard, and you want somebody to come and inspect it, it's, they would be talking to the community, and that person would get paid. I think it's, that was the name for years. And that leads, we're supposed to recruit someone from Shrewsbury. Those are the 2 houses. Yeah. That sounds exciting.
Oh, queen.
I think a few candidates. Maybe Fred, my husband.
Maybe Jet, you know that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
One of us,
Okay, so what do you need from us to set up the community meeting?
Yeah, work with me on it. I think let's find a space like this. Okay, yeah.
This would be,
Okay.
I can do 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it'll pull out a large number of people in person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think.
Some people love to physically be here, but.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, and if you're shooting for like early December?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they'd like to start looking it forward.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then the DPW meeting happens, whatever.
so yeah, it'll probably be pretty soon after that, once the mapping starts to have an idea. And I know the question came up whether if it was for private roads, which the EDPC contacted Billy's in charge of them, said yes, private roads, dirt roads.
Everywhere the pulse.
Yeah, and not just within the Fort River watershed either, which was a little bit of a concern because this was originally like, it was an application that was from sponsored by the Fort River Watershed Association, and you know, some idea was that it was just the Fort River watershed, which Shutesbury is really just kind of the southern part of Shutesbury, but they said all roads in all towns, private or private.
Wonder how many flowers there are.
I'm right, you know, there are. I think we'll increase it and somewhat substantially granted in private.
Yeah, so we just have to make sure we get us, like, well, word out there.
Do you want to give me some dates that work for you tomorrow and then we can set something up?
Sure.
And then we can deal with it.
And who runs the meeting? Who runs the community meeting?
I'll be there, but I think somebody who we need to see will also like to be there. Probably other people involved in the project who were involved in grant writing.
Okay,
That's great.
because we don't have to do it.
No, I know, I was be alone. That's what
Yeah, that sounds good. So early December. Okay. All right, in December.
Good. Thanks, Beth. Thanks for all your
Thank you.
work. Appreciate it.
And I think that includes our. Yeah, unless something popped up, did it time that Aileen goes there.
Only if we wanted to.
That's.
I'll let Bridget know.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor?
Carol.
Stop, right?
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And